Let's meet at the library. Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel. You'll notice I was too lazy to get my pillows out, so sorry if it looks too bare back here, but I think it's fine. So you're probably thinking to yourself, Julia, this looks like every other retroactive wrap-up, except you're wrong, because for the entire month of November, I dedicated myself to reading books only, specifically to me, recommended by my librarians. So let me explain. My public library has this program, where you can fill out this form and tell them some specific books you like, some favorite authors, different settings that you enjoy, favorite genres, and they take all the information and the librarians, I guess, like put their heads together. I don't know how they do this. And they email you a list of books that they think you'll enjoy. We'll get to that. So my librarians recommended to me a list of 10 books. I didn't make it through all 10. I only read 6 of them, though one I will be reading in the near future, and one of them I didn't finish until January. Whoops. Sometimes I forget how to read, you know? I vlogged for most of the month of November. It's not that in-depth. Some books you'll notice were longer, and so I talk about them more, and some, a graphic novel, I did not talk about at all, so I'm going to let you enjoy the vlog and fill you in with a wrap-up at the end. Enjoy my vlog that's going to be entirely me driving to work in the pitch dark. Just you wait. Hey guys, so it's only October 28th while I'm filming this, but by the time you're seeing this footage, you'll already see the title of the video, so I don't have to be as secretive as I feel right now. I am on my way to the library because I'm going to pick up a few of the books that I don't already own or have digital access to for my secret November reading project, ooh, which, again, you already know this, is reading all of the books that are recommended to me by my librarians. So it should be interesting. I'm mostly excited about the things that they've selected for me, a little cautious about a few, also just because of like the length. There are some chunkers on this list, so I'm nervous about making it through all of them because I would love to read all of them and I don't know if I will. So we're gonna do our best. Let's go get some goodies and I'll show you the first couple of things I'm picking up. All right, mission mostly accomplished. There was one thing that I don't have that I had to request through like the statewide catalog, so I'll be getting that later. Don't know why my library wants to recommend to me a book that I can't even access through them. I have to get it from a different library. Regardless, I managed to pick up the 3 things that I came here for. I'm sorry, there is a young boy dressed as George Washington. I'm so distracted. Why does he look like that? These books were all definitely suggested to me based on like settings that I mentioned liking, because the first one we have is The Kitchen Boy, a novel of the last Tsar, by Robert Alexander. And if that doesn't sound like a story about Dmitri from Anastasia, I don't know what is. It's nice and short, so I like that. Also, again, with the Russian theme, this one's exciting. This is probably what I'll pick up first once November hits. Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. I have read 2 other books by Catherine M. Valente, and I really enjoyed The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland and the Ship of Her Own Making. What a tongue twister. And I was like okay about Six Gun Snow White, but like her writing is undoubtedly beautiful. I'm excited about this one. Then we have this absolute chunker that I'm reluctant about. 1636. The Ottoman Onslaught by Eric Flint. First of all, what are you? Second of all, it's really big. How many pages is this thing? Oh, like over 500. That's great. I feel like this is like going to be very war heavy and very like almost sci-fi-ish, because like what are these tanks? I don't understand. I don't understand. But it says it's a New York Times best-selling series, so who knows, right? So yeah, I've grabbed those. There are, is it just one I already own physically, and then a lot of things that I'm going to be picking up as audiobooks, as well as one graphic novel as an ebook. So that's your first taste of things to come. Happy November, folks. It is almost 7 o'clock in the morning, which is why it's pitch black. I'm on my way to work, but I've started my first book of this project. It's an audiobook, obviously, as if I'm sitting down and cracking open a book at 6 in the morning on a Friday. It's Fall of Giants by Ken Follett, and it's not bad so far. It is very, very long. It's like a 30-hour audiobook, so I'm listening at 1.75 speed. Oh my god, a deer! Oh, you're beautiful! Oh, I love you! Seems like I'm always vlogging from the car. Don't ask me why. It's just where I am peaceful and alone, I guess. You guys, I started Deathless while on my break, and I just am like, Catherine and Valente, you did it again! Ah! She's just like, why is she the mother of fairy tales, you know? Like, everything she writes, I'm like, oh, is this the Brothers Grimm? No, it's just beautiful and ethereal, and like, it seems like it should be centuries old, but it's actually, you just wrote it in like 2013. Cool. Awesome. I can't explain it. I love her so much. And I didn't even know. I already feel just a juicy 5 stars coming on, so I'm really excited about it. I also started an audiobook this morning while I was getting ready for work, which is Fall of Giants by Ken Follett, might be his name. Oh boy, I am not mad at it, but I can already tell you it is like going to be the slowest, most character-driven novel. It's like a 30-hour audiobook, and I'm 4% done with it. But I don't hate it. It gives me very Downton Abbey vibes because it's like 1911 and it's in England, and there's like a boy who's a coal miner, and can I help you? And his sister is like a lady's maid to an earl, so it's all cool. Oh, look at this double pimple situation I have brewing. I look like I have snake bite piercings. Makes me want to jump out this window. Okay, that's my update. So I'm home. I'm feeling cold and unmotivated to move, but what I think we'll do, because the beginning, like the first 30 pages of Deathless that I read are just, is that we'll put on a face mask, deal with these pimples that are brewing down here, and read through the end of part 1 of Deathless, because I am smart and I did math, and I determined that if I read 66 pages a day, at least, of all of the physical books that I need to read for the month, then I should be able to read them and complete them all. So I should probably do the math on the audiobooks to see how much I should listen a day, but that's a little more intimidating. And if I finish my pages for Deathless today, I either need to continue Call Me By Your Name, not because that's a part of this project, but because I'm going to like a signing with the author in like a week. Or I could also pick up, what's the other one I need to read? Fables, Volume 1, which is on Hoopla. So these are possibilities. I'll catch up with you when my face is like probably purple, and I have a book in my hands. It's Monday. I just got done with work. I'm getting ready to go home, but oh my God, why is this book so like unnecessarily sexually explicit? Like, I don't like shy away from sex scenes. I'll read them. It's fine. But like, I don't know. It's just, okay, so what the frick is the name of this book also? So like my audiobook right now is like this sweeping historical epic that also just has like a ridiculous amount of sex scenes. Like, we have an affair that has resulted in an unexpected pregnancy. We had literally, what's a polite way to say this? We had, some hanky-panky going down at the opera, you absolute heathens. Just like a lot is happening. In the very first chapter, there was a boy like literally talking about how big his penis was, and I'm like, I don't need to know. Like, you're 13. I know you're insecure, but I really don't need to know. And then on top of that, I'm also reading Call Me By Your Name right now because I'm going to see the author at the end of the week. So I'm like, I gotta be ready for that. But oh my God, I've never read a character in anything ever that was hornier than Elio. Like, I want that boy to see a therapist. I know he's a teenage boy, but I'm not sure he's okay. Like, send him some help. And if you can't, send me some help. I'm at a red light on my way to work, so we don't have much time. Listen, Fall of Giants is fine. I particularly am the most interested in the female characters, because, you know, like, I'm a woman. But also because, like, a lot of the men, their points of view are all about politics, and it's kind of boring. But here's my issue. Despite the fact that the three women that we've seen the most of, Maud, Ethel, and Katerina, they're all very interesting. Like, Ethel's dad is like a union organizer, so she's like really into that. And like Maud is very liberal, and she's trying to like, okay, I got a phone call. So like Ethel's really cool because her dad is a union organizer, and so she's really into that. Maud is like super liberal, and she's trying to influence like the men in her life. Katerina is just kind of like scrappy, so she's fun. But their plots are kind of lame. Like, their plots are pregnancy, marriage, pregnancy. Wow, what did women do in the early 20th century? Try to get married or have a baby out of wedlock. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that can be a part of their plot, but can I have a little more meat, please? I want some substance. So that's kind of annoying. Also, I want to know what's up with Billy. Like, when we first met him, he was 13, now he's 16, and I'm like rooting for my boy, but we only get to hear about him now when Ethel's involved. So, I hope he's doing okay. Alright, that's my update. This is the second plot line in Fall of Giants where basically the sentiment, well, once literally, but twice essentially the sentiment has been, well, now that we're married, you are entitled to my body. And that's gonna be a big ew from me, Chief. That's a no, 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 no. Okay, first of all, there's snow. Fall of Ages, I have a cough drop, sorry, is literally the Game of Thrones of historical fiction. Like, it's so long, and yet it's still a series. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, 1,000 pages wasn't enough for you to tell your story. Please, add on thousands more. And like every character is connected technically, but it's like none of you live in the same location. And if you interact, it's like every 300 pages. And it's just a lot. And also there's more sex than you would expect. And also the women seem to get the short end of the stick a lot. Game of Thrones, Fall of Giants. They're really something. I literally am going to draw you guys like a family tree / relationship tree, because I don't even know how to tell you anything without confusing you. But I will say this. Billy loves Shakespeare now, which, I mean, I knew I liked that boy. My instincts never fail me. But also, he's definitely 17 and is involved with a 23-year-old woman who has 2 kids. And I'm like, I just question some of the choices. Also, we got a new female character, and I was like, cool. Actually, we got 2. And then one of them immediately got pregnant and almost got engaged, and now is probably engaged to the other guy. So, I'm not surprised. What up, friends? It is still November 7th. I'm just over halfway done with Fall of Giants. I know, go me. Here's my question that might sound ignorant, but I genuinely don't know the answer. After wars, this is World War I, but like just, I guess, trench warfare in general, what did they do with all those trenches? Like, did they just leave them there? Did they fill them in? Is there stuff built on top of old trenches now? I genuinely have no idea, and I'm really curious about it. Just a question. Sorry, I'm always in the car doing this. That's when I listen to my audiobooks the most, so I'm going to focus on driving again now. Okay, bye. I have tears in my eyes because Bernie, he's just such a nice guy, okay? Like, I haven't talked about Bernie yet in Fall of Giants. He's like this Jewish man with a Cockney accent, and he just loves Ethel so much. And like, this is the exact kind of love interest that just really, woo, gets me all jazzed up. Like, he is so kind. He loves her son who isn't his. He's patient. He's gentle. And he's like, I love you and I'll wait for you and blah, blah, blah. Like, all that cheesy, nice, good guy crap. I'm eating it up. If it's cheesy, I want it on a cracker so I can eat it right up. Okay? I love Bernie. I want one thing to be made very clear. Ethel, Billy, Gus, and Rosa are the only characters in this book who have rights. Maybe Grigori. You guys, I'm almost done with Fall of Giants. I only have an hour left. That means I'm 95% done with this book. I'm gonna sneeze. It's very exciting. I'm curious, like, what note we're going to end on. I assume, like, something hopeful, because all the storylines, except for Billy, sorry Billy, are wrapping up pretty positively. And I know that there's 2 other books in this series. Jesus. But they're also set in like different time periods. So I don't even know, is it going to be the same characters? That seems unlikely because, like, no offense, but will they be as interesting when they're like 70? I don't know, fam. But yeah, this is exciting. Oh, she did that! Oh my god, the best. Oh, wow. The ending of Fall of Giants is just, like, it's somehow the exact ending that I didn't know I needed. It was perfect. There's no flattering angle because my skin is garbage right now. Happy Tuesday. I had a snow day, so I didn't have to go to work. It is my mom's birthday, though. It's November 12th, and I am about to start my second audiobook of this project, which is American Gods by Neil... What the hell's your name? What is his name? Oh my god. Gaiman. Oh my god, Neil Gaiman. I am so sorry, sweetie. I totally blanked. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've never watched the show. I read the Graveyard book back in college. Wasn't crazy about it. Read Stardust. Really loved it, but that's because I really loved the movie, and it was almost as good as the movie. Controversial, I know. But I haven't actually read any other Neil Gaiman that I can think of, so I'm excited to dive into this one and see what I think. Plus, I know it's a full cast audiobook, which is very exciting. So I should be able to listen to at least about an hour of it today. And it's like a 19-hour audiobook, so I'll just get my first little taste and I'll let you guys know what I think about it. I did finish, I already told you this, I finished Fall of Giants. Pretty good. I ended up giving it like 3.5 stars for reasons we'll get into later. And I suck. I haven't picked up a physical book in like a week, so I haven't touched Deathless, even though I was really, really liking it. And I downloaded Fables Volume 1. Haven't opened that either, so we'll get there. So, like, can we just talk about that reverse birthing scene? Because yikes. I'm halfway through American Gods, and I swear, if this man can't just write one sex scene that doesn't make me uncomfortable as hell, oh my god. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't mind reading about in a sex scene. Like, it's whatever. But you know what I don't want? I don't want any description of the taste of any bodily fluids. I don't need that. Particularly if they're weird from a mythical being. Really don't want it. Definitely don't want to hear about an older man with a barely legal girl. Really yuck. I don't want to hear... Oh gosh, what else has happened? Yeah, I don't want to hear about like a reverse birth, which is the only way I can keep thinking of describing that first scene. I still don't know what happened there. And also, like, there's just a general yucky feeling of the power imbalance of like a god and a mortal doing it, which just makes me nervous. Alright, thanks. That's my gripe. So, I'm in the middle of getting ready, so this is a look. But I'm listening to American Gods as I'm getting ready, and I'm realizing that my favorite part of this book is actually all of Mr. Ibis's stories, which are great for world building, but kind of also have nothing to do with our main plot. So maybe that says a lot about how I'm feeling about this book. I just don't know yet. I feel like I'm not going to know what I think about this book until I'm literally 100% done with it. Because I'm not disliking it, but I'm also not like, wow, my new favorite book. I'm just kind of going along for the ride. And Neil Gaiman himself, in the introduction, was like, this is really meandering, and he was not kidding. But I think I like the meandering more than the main part of the story. Mainly, I think, just because I don't really like Wednesday, and because he's here a lot, I'm just sick of him. I don't mind Shadow. I kind of like him for the most part. And I liked his time at the funeral home. That was a really cool part. Except for his dream. There's a lot of details in this book that I'm like, I could have really lived my life without knowing that, like I would have been fine. The story would have been fine. But no, Neil Gaiman really wants me to know everything, so I know a lot now. But now I'm meandering. I guess what I'm trying to say, my stomach's talking. What I'm trying to say is I like Mr. Ibis's parts the best. And I don't know if that's because they feel more like fables and they're more historical and more mythology based. And I like all of those things. Or if it's also because this is a full cast audiobook and those parts are narrated by Neil Gaiman, who has the best voice. Like, anytime he's reading, I'm like, tell me your fairy tale, sir. I'm listening. Like, it's just, he's got a really engaging way of speaking. And I think it's also because when you're the author reading your own text, like, as you were writing it, how you wanted the reader to read it, so he can deliver it that way. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I am a little over halfway through it, so I'm hoping to be done within the next couple of days. Bookly predicts it'll have like maybe another 5 hours or so of listening. So let's do it. I also continued with Deathless last night, which I'm now about a third of the way through, and I'm loving, like, Catherine Valente, who writes like this. It's beautiful. Oh my god. There's something about just like some lush, gorgeous, fairy tale like writing that, wow, gets me fired up. Chips. I didn't go to Central Michigan University. Does anyone get that reference? Okay. That's all I'm going to say for now. I know I just said I didn't like Wednesday, but I didn't expect him to be shot in the head. Okay. So, Wednesday rubbed me the wrong way, so I never liked him. And I thought Loki's voice was too similar to, what was the man in Lakeside, like the Hinselman, the guy with the car. So I was suspicious of him, and turns out they both are doing their own thing and totally betraying the gods. So my instincts are killer. I'm almost done. I have like an hour and a half left, but I'm listening at 1.75 speed, so even less than that, really. Mr. Anansi, and Mr. Ibis are my favorite characters by far. Laura rubbed me the wrong way initially, but she really grew on me because, well, first of all, how absolutely iconic when she was like, I bet you want to know what happened to your friends. And he was like, yeah. And then she showed him by breaking his neck. Ah! It was amazing. Not to be excited about murder, but can we talk about how American Gods basically has the same ending as Breaking Dawn? Hear me out. They're both supposed to have a big old battle. Both sides are basically the same thing, but like opposing. So like old gods versus new gods, or like traditional vampires versus more, I don't want to say pacifist vampires, but more open-minded vampires. But in both scenarios, someone shows up and goes, don't do it, it would be bad, and then they go, okay. Like, wow. Not to say that, you know, Neil Gaiman and Stephanie Meyer are like the same as authors, but I just think that's a little interesting. Never in my life have I read a murder mystery where the murder mystery was the B plot, and yet American Gods was here to just say, suck it, you're wrong, we can do that. Strange. And yet, was I not correctly suspicious about every sus character in this book? I'm like so proud of myself. I never have this good of a track record with predictions. So, thank you. Take a bow. And I'm going to get driving and finish this book. I'm so close to being done. I'm going to keep this brief because A, I'm trying to drive, and B, I'm just not in the mood. I'm a little cranky. I have a headache. It's the first day of my period. I don't care if you think that's TMI. I don't care telling you. And my skin is just god-awful right now, so I'm just really cranky. But I started The Girl in the Garden this morning. It's fine. I have no strong feelings about it. I don't love things written in present tense, so that's kind of bothering me. And it's like shifting between the past and the present, not in terms of writing, but in terms of setting. Like sometimes the character's an old lady, sometimes the character's young, and there's not really like any distinct chapter breaks to be like, chapter 2, 2017. You know, it's just like, now I'm talking, but I'm in Los Angeles, so I hope you know that means I'm old. So that's kind of bothering me. I don't know. I'll fill you in. Oh God, I can't even talk. I'll fill you in when I have like real opinions and I'm not in the car. And I probably have a face mask on because I hate everything. Okay, bye. I am so bad at scheduling things. Oh my God. Hold on. This is not a look. Okay. I just came from the dermatologist, which is why I look like a scrub. And I'm about to head to my parents' house, but I'm like, it is November 23rd. I have finished 2 books from my list. I am about halfway through Deathless and about a quarter of the way through The Girl in the Garden, which means I have 8 days to finish 6 books plus, wait, is that including or plus the ones I'm reading? Fables, Savage Country, The Kitchen Boy, Outlander. Oh God, Outlander, it's so big. What the hell else? Oh, the Ottoman one. There's no way in hell I'm reading the Ottoman one. I'll give it a try, but I feel like it's gonna be a DNF. Why did I think this was okay? I gave myself a reading project and then said, don't hold a book all month, you idiot. Only listen to audiobooks. That has not served me well at all. So listen, I'm about a third of the way into The Girl in the Garden. I understand this story takes place in a different time, in a different culture than mine. And so, like, there are things just that are normal that I don't think of as normal. But truly, how can I get into this story about motherhood and marriage and pregnancy when the women who I'm talking about are not in fact women, but they are girls. They are girls, they are children. One of our main characters is 15, and her husband's like, hey, where's my baby? And I'm like, apparently it's your wife. Your wife is your baby. She's an adolescent. Another scene, there was like all these girls coming who were going to be potential wives. I am not even exaggerating when I say that one of them arrived to meet the family holding a doll, a toy. That's a child. That's a child. She said to another girl, she was like, "Do you want to hold my baby?" That is a child bride. And I'm like, I can't get behind this. It's not even like in a commentary way. It's just like, and that was happening. Like, if this book is making commentary on anything, it's like maybe arranged marriages. I'm like, how about we talk about child brides? Because I don't know. I'm just feeling a little nauseous, not gonna lie. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. I did not have to work today, which was great. But my beautiful, lovely roommate worked from home today, so I couldn't really vlog because I didn't want to be disrupting her. But yeah, I finished my audiobook, which was The Girl from the Garden, and overall, I am confusion. I like kind of got it in the end, but really my favorite character was super underused, underutilized, didn't get enough page time. That's Kokab, by the way. She's kind of an icon. She might be like my most favorite book character from a not favorite book, if that makes sense. And I wish that the story had either been from her point of view or from Rachel's, because literally Mahboubeh was so boring, and I don't understand why she had to tell us the story as an old woman, because that made it so confusing, and literally she is hardly relevant to the story, and I just think she wasn't a very compelling character, because also she was a child witnessing all these events, so she was just like, Rachel was mad, me. This is what she said. Like, would have been more interesting from a different point of view. So overall, I gave it like 3 stars. I think just like an even 3, because the writing was good, the characters were mostly interesting, but like I just didn't enjoy myself. I don't understand the point of the plot, basically. I'm trying to check my makeup because I'm getting ready to go to like a Friendsgiving, basically, but less sit down dinner, more like party. So that's what's up currently. I also read much more of Deathless, finally. I suck at sitting down and reading books lately. I just, like, every time I pick up this book, I'm like, how does one write like this? I can't even express. It's so beautiful. So it doesn't even matter that like these characters are kind of awful to one another, because I'm thoroughly enjoying this beautiful, beautiful writing. And I just love that it's like a more modern-ish setting. It's like, what, the early 20th century? But that we still get all these elements of fantasy and folklore, and it's just beautiful. So I'll probably get to finish it tomorrow, because Thanksgiving is going to be very quiet. It's just going to be me and my parents. What a small Thanksgiving. But I'm not mad at that. It'll give us some downtime, and I'll keep you updated, but it's looking like I'm not going to be finishing every single book. I suppose I could always read Outlander in December, see how that goes. I don't know. So, explain to me how Savage Country, that's what it's called, right? Can claim that, Green Day, you're too loud, can claim that it has a female protagonist, and yet we didn't meet Elizabeth until chapter 4. Just go ahead and say it. Elizabeth is prominent, but Michael's your main character. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like if you led with someone, that's your main character. And I really like a female-led Western. Well, I'm nearing the halfway point of Savage Country, and it's not really doing anything for me. I went into this book thinking it was a female-led Western. We barely hear Elizabeth's point of view, and it's just bothering me because, like, to have more than one female character is ideal in a Western story or any historical story, in my opinion. But I could forgive just one female character if she was a well-rounded, fleshed out main character. She is a main character, but I hardly know anything about Elizabeth, and what I do know of her is that she's determined to live an autonomous life now that her husband is dead, and that she's just trying to learn everything from her dead husband's brother. That's all I know about her. You would think halfway through the novel I'd be a little more familiar with her character, her nuances, her likes, her dislikes. No, I know that she at first didn't really like alcohol, and now she says, like, okay, the mind can have a little bit of alcohol. Wow, such character development. So that's happening. Also, this is a small complaint, but it just bothers me that, like, so often it's like the men and Elizabeth in the narration, and I'm like, don't you think we could say, like, all of the travelers, or like their party? Like, I get it, she's the only woman and you have to remind me of that. I don't know why that bothers me, it just does. By the way, my car's broken. This is Elise. If you're like, this isn't the car Julia's been sitting in all of this vlog, things are changing. Not to be dramatic, but this book would be so soulless without Elizabeth. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's December 2nd, which means my month for this challenge is actually over, but I've decided, even though I didn't read every single book, that I will at least be finishing the two I'm currently reading, Savage Country and Deathless, before I close out this vlog. So you're getting some bonus days, that's fine. Savage Country. I'm about 2/3 of the way through now, and let me tell you about this BS I just heard, okay? So, I don't even know how to explain this. There was a stranger who came to camp. He was on the verge of dying. He had a wife. She was not dying. Once he was dead, all the men at camp were like, well, what are we going to do with this lady? Well, she's a white woman. She could be worth a lot. I think we should, like, post a ransom and find out who her family is, and then we can sell her back. We can make so much money. And Elizabeth was like, I'm setting her free, you crazies. And just was like, goodbye, find your family. And the lady's like, thanks. Because that's what you do when you're a decent human being. What on earth? And then her friend, the Reverend Doctor, was like, I can't believe you did that. And she was like, I can't believe that I might never forgive you. Wow. Like, truly, I'm right there with you, Liz. And then he's writing his stupid book that I'm sure is just full of lies, because his account of finding this woman was like, I carried her and stroked her yellow hair, and she, you know, like, called me her savior, like some nonsense like that. And I'm like, this is stupid and you all suck. Michael wasn't there, but I'm sure he would have been the only other rational character. Jeez.
So what a journey, right? So I can't quite remember if I actually listed all of the books I was recommended in the video, like the vlog part. So let me just say them now, and I'll put them on the screen somewhere. Fall of Giants, American Gods, Fables Volume 1, Deathless, The Girl from the Garden, Savage Country, Every Man for Himself, Outlander, The Kitchen Boy, and 1636, The Ottoman Onslaught. So looking at this list, I can definitely tell what my librarians were going for. Like, I get it, okay? Because I was telling them things like, I really liked the Conqueror's Saga by Kirsten White. And so they were like, oh, you want the Ottoman Onslaught, right? And I'm like, well, no, I liked it for the characters, not for like the fall of Constantinople. But beside the point. You know, I said things like I enjoy Russia as a setting, so they recommended The Kitchen Boy and Fall of Giants. I get it. Deathless, lots of Russia actually. They were very good at that. I said I liked the Titanic. They gave me Every Man for Himself. I said, oh, I listed, you know what? I listed Will Shakespeare and Jane Austen, and they did not give me any classics. What's up with that? I know I listed Stay With Me as one of my favorite books, which is 100% why they recommended The Girl from the Garden. I know this isn't a typical wrap-up, but I guess let's go in my usual order from least favorite to most favorite of just the 6 books that I read. So first off, you might have figured this out some, the books that I didn't make it to were Every Man for Himself, because literally they recommended it to me. My library doesn't have it physically. They don't have it on Hoopla. They didn't have it as an ebook. I couldn't even get it through like the statewide library network. So I'm like, why would you recommend to me a book that you can't even supply to me? It's fine. I didn't read The Kitchen Boy because I just sucked at reading physical books in November. And I also didn't read 1636 because, let's be honest, that was the book on this list that I was least likely to read anyways. It really was not appealing to me. I also didn't read Outlander, which really sucks because that was supposed to be my oldest TBR book for November, and I didn't read it in November or December, so now I'm trying to read it in January, but we're mostly through January, and it's fine. I'm like 7 pages in. I'll make it. So of the books that I did read, my least favorite was Savage Country. This book was not it, Chief. For a female-led Western, really, she was only one of the 2 female characters. I liked, in theory, the romance aspect of it. I'm just gonna spoil it. Who's gonna read this book? Like, are you gonna read this book? I'm gonna spoil it. So basically, our main character, whose name I've forgotten already, it might have been Elizabeth actually, she is like going west or whatever with her late husband's brother, who she's never met, and like, for me, me gusta, a mí me gusta. There's just something about like the husband's brother, or like the brother's best friend, or like any kind of those connected tropes that just, you know, it's my thing because I like a tight-knit love triangle, even though it wasn't really a love triangle because one of them is dead, okay? So I liked that. All the side characters were the worst. So really it was Elizabeth and that guy, and I was like, you guys are cool. The rest of you, you can get out of here. Oh, I hate it so much that I'm choking. The writing didn't do much for me. If you're someone who is like disturbed by hunting imagery or the butchering of animals, not the book for you. There is so much buffalo killing in this book. Oh my god. Like, I can handle a relative amount of that when it's like historically appropriate, but I was like it was like buffalo slaughter, and I was like, this isn't even necessary. Like, it's so wasteful. Like, they would just leave all those, ugh. It was nasty. It's really sound like I'm losing it. So that just really didn't do it for me. So it had like a good idea, didn't follow through. One level up from that would be, oh, did I say that was like 2.5 stars, by the way? So one level up from that, a 3-star book for me was The Girl from the Garden. This was like fine. In theory, I enjoyed the story that they wanted to tell because it was set, shoot, why can't I remember anything? Because this was 2 months ago. It was set in this country. I wish I could remember. Which was like rich and lush and all good, but it was just like so uncomfortable to read about because it's like taking multiple wives, and your wives are literally like practically prepubescent girls. Like, they were so young, except for one. And the writing choices were so weird. Like it was split between present and past tense, and it was like in present she was telling us about it as she was an old lady, and then in the past tense she was talking about it like witnessing these things as a child, except she wasn't even like a main player in the story. Like it just felt like the narrator could have been any other character other than the girl who it was. And I know that the point of it was trying to be like, oh, she didn't know her mother, and then they revealed her mother, but it didn't even do anything for me with that reveal at the end. So like it just felt stupid. Kokab was the best character in this book. Rachel was really interesting. I just said her name so forcefully. Rachel. Kokab was the best though. I was so fascinated by her character. She was underutilized. She should have been the protagonist of the book, honestly. Oh my god. Yeah, the whole book should have been Kokab's story, because she was like married and then divorced. Is that the word that they used? And she like couldn't see her daughter, and then she like got remarried, but she didn't want to, and this man was like, hey, you're my wife now, and she's like, literally, don't touch me, and he was like, okay. Like, I loved Kokab. She was an icon. Basically, the girl from the garden should have been Kokab. Next up, we have two books that were just barely a little bit better. They each got 3.2 stars. Wow, what a distinction. First we have American Gods. It was like interesting. I get that Neil Gaiman was like, hey, this book is really meandering. The man was not lying, okay? I really didn't need any, like 0% of the sex scenes in that book needed to be there. Didn't like them, didn't want them. Details that I could have lived my life without knowing. It's fine. Really hated Wednesday. Turns out I'm a great judge of character. I kind of want to watch the show just because I thought that Laura Moon and what's the leprechaun's name? I thought they were going to interact like ever. I think maybe they did once. I was really disappointed because from my very minimal knowledge of the show, I thought they had this like cool dynamic going on. And we literally don't see that. So that must be season 2 or the show really diverges. I couldn't tell you. So I was disappointed by that. Basically though, my favorite parts of this book were like Mr. Anansi and Mr. Ibis. Those are the guys. And Shadow was okay, but like, I don't know, there were just so many weirdly interwoven plot lines. Like, I'm glad that they all ended up being connected, but like, why did some of them even have to be woven in there in the first place? It's like you're making this beautiful tapestry and you like got your pattern that you're weaving, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, no, I need a row of gold thread in here. Yes, okay, yep. And then you go back to your weaving, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, no, we should add some green in here. And it's like, yes, you made it fit, but why? Like, you didn't need to. Do you like that I literally took my metaphor and made an analogy out of it? What a gal. At the same level, we have Fall of Giants, which I'll admit, unlike American Gods, I think I will continue in this trilogy because I'm kind of intrigued. I'm pretty sure in my vlog somewhere I said Fall of Giants is like the Game of Thrones of the historical fiction genre, and I really stand by that. All of the female characters were great. Ethel in particular is the best. Love her. Rosa's also super cool, but Ethel is like my gal. And her little brother Billy, excuse me, love that kid. Don't love his relationship, but I love him. They're just good eggs, honestly. And wow, the ending. I don't know how to explain Fall of Giants because it's like it's American characters and Russian characters and British characters and Welsh characters and German characters, and all of them are coming together at the turn of the century, and it's a lot of war. That's one of the reasons this book lost points for me, is because I hate battle scenes. I think they're so boring. I don't want to read about them. And there was a lot of those because there's a lot of men going to war. What's the girl? We're British and we're going to war. That's what this book was. But there were so many things I loved about it, and also like so many plot lines about motherhood, which we know I love. So yeah, I guess the rest of the trilogy is like, the next book is in the 40s, maybe the 30s, I don't know. But it's like the kids of these characters, and I'm like, that's genius. I don't know why I act like that's never been done before, but I think it's brilliant. It's the Disney's descendants of historical fiction also. Oh boy, I'm killing it today. Once upon a time, I tried to make like a family tree to like break apart who's connected to who and where, but it's literally not worth getting into because I'm already 15 minutes into just explaining this, and that's not even including the vlog. So it's not worth getting into, but if you guys are curious about Fall of Giants, I will absolutely take the time to break it down for you. Let me know if you want a specific video all about Fall of Giants. I'll make you a nice big beautiful like relationship tree, and also maybe comparing them to Game of Thrones characters, because Ethel is 100% Dany. I would say like Rosa is Brienne for sure. I could go on. All right, moving on up in the world, we have the book I didn't finish until January. Whoops. It's Deathless. Deathless I gave 3.8 stars because I can objectively see that it's a really good book, and like the writing is so beautiful, and I don't understand how Catherine Ambolente does that, and by does that I mean writes. But also I just felt the whole time like I didn't really know what was going on. Like I kind of had an idea, but I'm like, sometimes I can't tell if it's literal or metaphor, and I personally like to know if we're being literal or not. I still have never recovered from like 5 years ago when I read We Were Liars, and I thought that literally the main character's dad shot her in the heart when she just meant that like he left their family. I was like, your dad attempted to kill you. What? I like beautiful writing, but I also like writing that isn't too poetic, okay? But yeah, Deathless is super cool. It's a retelling of Koshi the Deathless. I don't know how to pronounce Russian names. And Maria Morevna. That one I can say because Maria's from War and Peace, and I know War and Peace, kind of. So it was like pretty good. I don't know. The characters definitely have like messy relationships, so if you're someone who's into like moral ambiguity and all that fun stuff, anti-heroes, like it could really be a book for you. I'm not super into that, but I also didn't hate it. I don't know how to explain it. I do have a full Goodreads review for Deathless, so you can check that out. And finally, my favorite book of all of this challenge, if you will, which if you've been keeping track, you'll know which one it is by process of elimination. It was Fables Volume 1. I gave it 4.3 stars. I was utterly charmed. It was definitely like written by a man. But I don't know, I didn't hate it. Okay, so Fables is about, it's a graphic novel, and it's all about, it's like Once Upon a Time. It's like all these storybook characters are in the real world, except these characters do remember that they're fables because they're like refugees from the fairy tale world basically, and they were like, okay, we gotta escape because these people are taking over, and now we're stuck here. And it was like just really cool. I was very into a lot of the characters. So our main guy is Bigsby Wolf. He's the big bad wolf, but he's like in a human form, but he can also be a wolf. He's kind of like a werewolf, but not really. He can control it. And our main girl, it's not Snow White, is it? I think she is. Why can't I actually remember that? She had dark hair. She must have been Snow White. Her sister was Rose Red. Oh my gosh. Also, this first volume, and I assume all of the volumes, is like its own self-enclosed mystery. So it's like, hey, your sister is dead. And then she has to solve the mystery of what happened to her sister. And it was pretty good. Like, it was juicy. I got hooked, and I am really intrigued by the relationship between Bigsby and, they didn't call her Snow White. What did they call her? Because it was like a weird will they won't they kind of dynamic. And in some points I was like, it seems maybe kind of like, nothing like actually happened, so it wasn't like consent, but it just seemed like kind of dubious and like, should I be okay shipping this? But also I couldn't help it because I did, because I really liked them together. So honestly, that's probably why I'll keep reading, to see if they get together at some point, because that's fun. You know, it's like the forced proximity trope, where it's like, we've got to work together to solve this mystery, and are we catching feelings? Maybe. So it was fun. The art style like wasn't my absolute favorite. The writing was just like regular comic book writing, but the story and the characters had me really interested. All right, well, those are the books that I read in November because my librarians told me to. And the moral of the story is, librarians have a good gauge of what books are about, but probably you should talk to them in person if you want recommendations. I don't know. You know what? It might be interesting for me to try this again. I wonder if I fill this out again in October with like more recent favorite books and see what they recommend to me. I'd be kind of curious. Okay, so leave me a comment if you think I should try this again, even though I thought it was a total fail. I promise if I do, I'll get better at vlogging. Also, let me know if you want to see more vlogs from me in general. I promise I can attempt to do them in places other than my own car. That's where we're at. Thank you all so much for watching, and you'll be seeing more from me soon. Bye!